There are certain events in sports that bring everybody together. There's certain really big ones that bring the world together. And of course, I'm talking about the FIFA World Cup in 2026. This is going to be a neat thing because for the first time in history, 3 different countries are hosting this event. The US, Mexico, and of course, Canada are going to be a lot of fun. Coming up in June 11th to July 19th in 2026, Canada Soccer CEO Kevin Blue joining me here on the program. Kevin, thanks for joining us on In Conversation. I should have actually asked you to do this in May or maybe the first week of June because your nerves would probably be through the roof, even though you wouldn't have time to do it for me. But I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, Ryan, thanks so much for having me on. And obviously, we're looking ahead with great anticipation, and we're really excited about the opportunity to welcome the world and to compete in the World Cup in Canada next year.
So let me ask you about the nerves. I know we're still months away. I get it. But we're starting September. It's going to be October. Next thing you know, 26 will be around and you'll be basically sprinting toward June. Where are the preparations at? Where are you at? Not just individually, but also kind of just generally with the whole group.
Yeah, well, the men's national team is on a great track preparing. I think they're on a day-by-day basis, just continuing to refine in their preparation, and there's some friendlies obviously that we're playing in Europe over the next short while, and then we'll be back home to play some more friendlies against really top quality competition in order to make sure that Jesse has the team selected and the players are ready to compete at the highest level. Organizationally, it's obviously a huge opportunity for the sport in Canada to continue to grow. Like, soccer's already the most participated sport in Canada. And we are hopeful and confident that the World Cup will elevate the visibility and the stature of soccer in Canadian culture even more. So we're doing everything we can organizationally to prepare for that.
I remember even not too long ago that Canadian soccer on a women's level and the men's level, just Canadian soccer in general, it was poor. The results were not there on the pitch. There was probably some lack of participation involved. But now that both sides are doing what they're doing, just kind of going back to your point about the growth of this, for kids to see the Canadian national team members play up close or even on TV is one thing. But to see now this on a World Cup stage, for me, if I was a kid, I'd be sitting there like watching one of these best movies I've ever seen thinking, wow, not only is the country hosting this, but if I really want to and work at it, I can see myself getting on the World Cup team at some point. To me, that's just great for these kids.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing for the women's national team, as you referenced, has already had sort of world-class success in the Olympic Games, particularly when an event with the stature of the Men's World Cup comes to a domestic setting. It elevates the visibility even more, and it allows for there to be, the role models from the men's national team front and center for, for Canadian youth to look up to aspire to be like. And what we think is really cool about both of our national teams is that they both are, I think, a fantastic representation of what Canada is today, right? They're made up of first-generation Canadians speaking both official languages, and it's a fantastic opportunity for those types of role models to be front and center in the sporting culture, especially among young people.
You mentioned Jesse Marsh, and a funny story about that is I saw him play. I'm not going to tell you when because we can make me feel old, but I'm not going to do that. But I saw him play in Wisconsin. We're talking years ago when he was playing. And I remember, because I was with friends who actually knew him, and I met him. He doesn't remember me at all, and that's fine. But I met him, and I thought, there's just something about him. And to see his growth, and now where he is at with this Canadian program, what has he meant to the development of not just the Canadian program, but really soccer in general in this country?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, from the time we were recruiting during the hiring process, it was clear that he was going to be a hand-in-glove fit for what Canada needs. And there's a few reasons for that. The first, from a footballing standpoint, the way that he was trained and his beliefs in his philosophies and tactics are a fantastic fit for the athleticism and the attitudes in our player pool. So from the start, there was a really good marriage between, like, on the pitch in terms of what our player pool is and the strengths of it, and then Jesse's approach. The second thing that he really brought to the table was a true sort of intellectual inclination to be an ambassador for the sport during this incredibly important period of growth for the sport beyond just the men's national team. And he's been a fantastic force for trying to continue to modernize and professionalize the sport across the country in all ways. He's done coast to coast coaching clinics. He's attended youth national championships. He has a program where we invite developing Canadian coaches into national team camps to provide experience. So he wanted to serve in this role. He's intellectually stimulated by it, and he's very prepared and capable of doing it. So that's another reason why Jesse's been fantastic for us. And then, thirdly, his ability to communicate and be a great representative of what the national team program on the men's side should be all about is a strength as well. So
he's very vocal, very vocal. Yes, I like that.
We're really excited about his leadership and excited about what the opportunities are for him and the players and the coaches as we head towards the home World Cup.
So you have, and you've already laid this out. I've seen it, I've read it, and I know about it. But for those that have not heard it and seen it, you laid out a key 4-step plan that you want Canada Soccer to follow. Can you just explain those 4 points?
Well, look, the World Cup is, a lot of people in Canada laid the groundwork for this opportunity.
Yeah.
People that came long before me and the staff that are here now, and everybody's appreciative of the folks who have done that. It is now our responsibility to make sure that when the World Cup comes, that it is important and it makes a transformational impact for the sport in our country. So we're very focused on, like I said, a few things. The first is making sure the men's national team is preparing properly. That's not me specifically doing that, but it is us enabling there to be support and resources for their preparation. And I think we've scheduled the right opponents and we're on track to make sure that they're optimally prepared. The second thing that we're doing is we're really focusing on making sure the World Cup itself is relevant to every soccer player in Canada at the club level. And so what we've done, one of the things we've done is started a multiple year service called Club Plus, where Canada Soccer as the national federation is able to provide resources, tools, marketing assets, other types of service directly to clubs so that they can take advantage of this unique time where there's more visibility on soccer than probably there ever has been. There's going to be a lot of people considering soccer participation for the first time or considering how to deepen their participation by maybe wanting to become a referee or a coach. And so we're trying to make sure that we're a resource for clubs to be able to navigate this opportunity. The third thing that we're really trying to do is make sure that the World Cup is a catalyst for Canada Soccer's continued strengthening in terms of its business model and financial sustainability. And we're mainly doing that by building and growing the Canada Soccer Foundation. As you may know, increasingly philanthropic contributions are becoming a critical revenue stream for sport in Canada at a time where other revenue streams, traditional ones like government funding, may not be scheduled to increase at the same rate as investments are needed, especially in a sport like soccer that continues to grow, right? The level of investment has to go up, and some traditional revenue streams may not be growing as quickly. So we're using the World Cup to really catalyze a business model evolution for the federation. And then lastly, we do think about legacy in terms of infrastructure, and there are a number of things across the country that need to happen infrastructurally for soccer, for professional soccer. And, we are also, thinking through what does the infrastructure look like for something like a national training center. So there's a number of legacy components that will be part of the overall project. Most of this work will happen after the World Cup, but it's something that we're planning for and trying to make sure we take advantage of right now.
Going back to when you were appointed the position of CEO of Canada Soccer, just kind of take me through that and your thought process, how it all came about, and kind of, okay, I'm at the helm here of something that I want to see grow to become even better than it is already. Any pressure? I'm sure there is, but did you feel a lot of pressure in that initially when you first got hired?
I think, all of us that are involved right now feel a great sense of responsibility and obligation. I think that you have this moment in time. Again, the World Cup and the opportunity for it to be here the groundwork was laid many, many years ago by many people who really laid the proper foundation for this. And the responsibility on us who are involved now is to make sure that we are maximizing the moment for the sport, right? So the definition of pressure, I guess, is dependent on that's personal from individual to individual, but we all certainly do feel a sense of obligation and responsibility. And for not only soccer in Canada, but broadly speaking for Canadian sport, right? This is one of the biggest stages that ever happened for sport in Canada. And We want soccer to be, an example. We move forward. We're trying to build dynamically and move into this opportunity in a way that's showing the right level of leadership. So everybody's excited, but feels tremendous obligation and responsibility.
Is there some internal dialogue between you and the team? You don't have to share it if you don't want to, but again, there's the USA involved in this, and there's Mexico, and there's this nation, Canada. Is there kind of internal dialogue saying, you know what, let's really knock them out of the park and let's kind of show them exactly how to do this thing, or no?
No, the three countries have a lot in common as it relates to being part of CONCACAF, and as global football is a big, vast environment and landscape. And as different as Canada, Mexico, and the United States are in many ways, they're more alike than they are different in global football. We have great relationships with the other countries. Our team is very, very focused on the legacy of the World Cup, on performance in the World Cup, and doing right by Canada and by Canadians. Our friends in the United States and Mexico, I'm sure, are thinking the same way.
It's going to be fun. Again, it gets going on June the 11th through July 19th, 2026. I believe I have this right, that the ticket sales, they open on Wednesday. So next Wednesday, the 10th of September. This is a FIFA event. So when it comes to ticketing, it's a little bit different, maybe quite a bit different. Can you kind of take us into that?
Yeah. FIFA is the operator of the World Cup, as everybody knows, and consequently, FIFA does and manages the ticketing. Ryan, you referenced some of the ticketing processes that are getting started. FIFA controls all the tickets.
Yeah.
As a matter of the member associations, in our case, Canada Soccer, through our men's national team, are participating in each game. FIFA allocates a certain percentage. It happens to be 8% of the tickets that they control for us, for our distribution to stakeholders and other folks who are part of our Canada Red membership program. And there's a lottery system that I think a lot of people have read about and know about. What I will say about the ticketing landscape in this situation, I think we're in the midst of a process and a level of demand that has never been seen before in Canadian soccer, for sure. Right. Yeah. Like there's much more demand than there will be supply for the matches played by the Canadian men's national team, which is amazing. Like it's an amazing excitement level for everybody in the country to be part of this. But of course, this creates market dynamics and market forces that, Canadian soccer fans and the Canadian soccer community have not experienced before. So there's some complexities to work through in that regard. We encourage everybody to try to participate in all of the public FIFA processes, as well as join Canada Red to be able to participate in the process for our 8% of the tickets as well. And we want the stadiums to be full of people who are cheering for Canada, and we're really optimistic that that's going to be the case come the group stage.
You mentioned Canada Plus. Can you go into a little bit more about Canada Red, that for us?
Yeah, Canada Red is our fan and supporter membership program. This is a common structure across global football. It's a common structure in federation football and in club football. And in my personal background, I come from U.S. college sports, where there are annual funds that are structured similarly. And essentially, people participate at various contribution levels, ranging from free up to $5,000 a year. And in exchange for their participation and their contributions, there are a series of benefits and opportunities to engage with the national teams and the programs, et cetera. And all of the contributions that are raised through Canada Red are directly reinvested in priorities such as the youth national team system to make sure that the next generation of players in the World Cups are highly developed. Our coaching education initiatives to make sure that there's more Canadian coaches on the global stage, and then also youth-facing soccer programming. So we're directly reinvesting the proceeds from Canada Red into these important initiatives. Canada Red existed in 2022, and it was the platform for allocating tickets from Canada Soccer's allotment in the Qatar World Cup. It will exist for the 2027 Women's World Cup. It is a program that has existed previously and will continue to exist as we go forward. And there's a lot more attention on it right now because of the 2026 World Cup, but it's an important component of our revenue generating opportunities as we go forward, and part of our philanthropic efforts to make sure that we're able to invest in the game at an increasing rate to make sure that we're matching its growth.
I don't know the answer to this. The answer is probably that they go hand in hand. But yes, it's being played in Canada and the US and in Mexico. And for Canada, every time you get whatever country get a chance to play in your country for the World Cup, that's such a big deal. How big is it just as big for Canada to perform well? Is it bigger for that to happen, or is it just for this country to put on a great show, to get everything in order, to make people leave thinking, okay, the country that we're cheering for didn't do what we wanted, but man, this was a really good event?
I mean, look, experience of galvanizing Canada and of growing soccer in Canada, which are the two main objectives, sort of meta objectives of the World Cup, is greatly enhanced by us being compelling on the pitch, right? And there's a difference between a group stage exit with some uninspiring performances,
Yeah.
and advancing in the tournament, or having inspiring performances that tens of millions of Canadians will watch and rally behind. This is the dialogue about this is interesting. Like, people find this to be, is there pressure, or their expectations? All you got to do is spend 5 minutes around the players and the coaches to understand how motivated they are to succeed, and to win, and to represent Canada in a way that people are proud of from a competitive standpoint. It's like it's how they're wired. It's what they're excited about, that opportunity and that challenge. I think there's a lot of sort of media talk about pressure and expectations, but like it's viewed entirely by these guys as an opportunity. Like, the experience of having the whole country behind them and having success is intrinsically going to be an amazing experience for them, and we're so excited to be part of it.
I've always said this about any sport, and I'll just use hockey as a reference. Why not? We're in Canada, so let's do it. But if you get a chance to win an Olympic medal for your country, is that more important? I've asked a whole bunch of athletes who have done that, and they've also won the Stanley Cup. Is it what's more significant to you? And probably 90% say, you know what, winning that gold medal for my country, winning anything for my country at any level is just huge. There's something different about playing for your nation than playing for your team. I want to throw this at you as well here. This is a team game, and this has been bugging me, Kevin, for a very long time, so I need your help on this. And I'm going to date back again, another little quick story I had. So when I was in grade 6, again, I'm not going to tell you how old I am because that's just going to make this all depressing. I was in grade 6, we were playing soccer, and we were in the final. It was tied at 1 through regulation, through overtime. It was outdoors, and it was getting late. Coaches didn't want to go to a shootout, because they said this is a team game. A team game does not need to go to a shootout. So we said, well, the sun's going down, so what are we going to do? Every 5 minutes, on each side, one person came off the field. That happened 4 times, so 4 guys were off on each side. Finally, when the 5th was going to go off, we ended up scoring and we won. My whole point in this is that stuck with me since, and I'm just not a fan of a team sport being decided in a shootout. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. You can call FIFA and tell them that, and we'll see if we get the rules changed for the World Cup. But as far as penalties are concerned, people have varying points of view about penalties. The women's national team won the gold medal because of their performance in penalties.
Right.
The men's national team will perform in penalties in a way that is going to help them advance in the tournament as well. We love penalties. We choose to embrace penalties. But if you want to call FIFA and see if they want to change to the grade 6 sunset rules, then I'd welcome that as well.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I won't even ask you for the number. I'm good. Just a thought. Just came into my mind. Last one before we let you go. Again, this has been great. Kevin Blue joining us here, Canada CEO of soccer. So the next number of months, again, as we head toward June, kind of give us a time frame if you can. What's to be expected, say in the next 2, maybe divide them up into 3. Where are you going to be after 3 months, say in December, then we go to March, then you're finally into June?
Yeah, I think over this fall stretch, the men's national team specifically has a number of friendly windows, right? So we've got Romania and Wales in the next few days. We return back to Canada to face Australia in Montreal, and then we play a road game against Colombia in New York City, and this is in October. And then we will return home again and play against Ecuador in November. That's November 13th in Toronto. And we will have one more friendly against a South American opponent that will be announced relatively soon. But all of these matches in September, October, November windows are against the caliber of teams that you would expect to play at a World Cup.
That's
so
great.
It's going to be a really great preparation opportunity and a test for our team as it continues to mature and develop. As far as off the pitch stuff leading up to the end of the year, there's going to be the draw is on December 5th in Washington, D.C. So we will find out our opponents The ticketing process will continue in earnest over the next several months. I think you'll see some more marketing and promotional activity and brand activity from us around the men's national team, setting the stage for 2026. And when the calendar turns, we're going to be really excited to help continue to build the profile of the men's national team amongst regular Canadians who may not follow these guys yet on a day-to-day basis, and try to work with our media partners to tell stories about them, make them household names leading up into the tournament. At the end of the day, we want everybody in Canada to obviously know who people like Moise Bombito and Jonathan David and Alfonso Davies, like some of them are very, very recognizable players now, but we want all 40 million Canadians to understand the stories of these players, where they came from, and how they're going to represent Canada in the biggest sporting event in human history in the middle of the summer. So you're going to see a lot of that activity in early 2026.
I've been a big fan of soccer. I've been a big fan of this country and the program, and this is the first time I met you, and I'm a big fan of you already. I thank you on behalf of the country for what you've done, what you're doing, and the whole team that's behind you for this, and I can't wait till June. It's going to be a great ride at the FIFA World Cup 26. So Kevin, thanks for joining us today, and I really appreciate the time.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Ryan. Take care.